Jake Carter wiped the grease from his forehead with a stained rag, sweat mixing with motor oil as the dying sun turned the sky into a soft wash of orange and lavender. The last car of the giant old, rusty sedan was finally finished, and the small-town garage where he worked was silent except for the ticking of cooling engines and the clink of tools being put away. Jake had been working extra hours. Again, he didn't have much choice. Rent was past due, groceries were low, and Lily, his 5-year-old daughter, needed new shoes and school supplies. He glanced at his phone. A cracked screen lit up with a picture of Lily, blonde curls, chocolate brown eyes, and the missing front tooth she was proudly showing off. A text from the babysitter blinked beneath it. "She's waiting for you, don't be late again, Jake." Jake groaned. He hated being late for her, especially today. It was Dad's tea party day, Lily's weekly ritual where she laid out plastic cups and imaginary cookies, demanding he sit cross-legged on the floor and act royal. He sighed, pulled off his gloves, and was locking the garage when headlights swung into the lot. The a gleaming red 1967 Ford Mustang rolled forward, sputtering, before shuddering to a steaming stop. It was the kind of car you didn't see much in a town like Mason Creek. Too classic, too expensive. The driver's side door opened, and a woman stepped out. She was stunning, and not in a magazine model way, but in a powerful, clean, effortless kind of way. A long trench coat hugged her frame. Her sunglasses were perched in her windswept hair. She looked tired, maybe annoyed, but not helpless. "Excuse me," she said. "My car's overheating. Can you help?" Jake wiped his hands and walked toward her. "Looks like it. Pop the hood." She did. Steam hissed out. Jake whistled low. "Cracked radiator hose. You've been driving too long with it leaking." Lucky the engine didn't seize. The woman looked at the car like it betrayed her. "It's been acting up. I was heading through town for a meeting. Guess that's not happening." Jake nodded. "I can patch it up and get you running again. But it's a temporary fix." "Fine," she said. "Do what you can." Jake got to work, while she leaned against the passenger door, watching him. She didn't talk much, but she wasn't cold either. There was something behind her eyes, something familiar, a kind of sadness hidden under steel. "You run this place?" she asked eventually. Jake shook his head. "Just a mechanic. Been working here 10 years. I take on night shifts. Helps keep the lights on." "Must be hard," she said softly, "doing it all alone." Jake paused. He didn't usually talk to customers about his life, but something about her made him want to. "Yeah, my wife left 2 years ago. Just me and my daughter now. Lily, she's the best part of my life." The woman smiled for the first time. "How old?" "5. Full of fire and imagination. She makes me have tea parties with her stuffed animals." Jake chuckled. "I'm already late for tonight's one." She laughed. "It wasn't for Sita, it was real, and beautiful, and brief." "You're a good dad," she said. Jake looked up, surprised. "Thanks." He tightened the last clamp and wiped his hands. "Try starting it now." She slid into the Mustang and turned the key. The engine roared to life. Smoother now, stronger. Jake smiled in satisfaction. She got out and stood beside him. "How much do I owe you?" Jake shook his head. "It's a quick fix. Call it free." She narrowed her eyes. "Why?" "Because someday, someone might help me when I need it. Besides a broken bar, I like helping people. It's not much, but it's something I can do." The woman seemed to study him. She opened her purse, took out a sleek, dark gray business card, and handed it to him. "My name's Olivia Hart. If you ever need anything at work, advice, even someone to talk to, or call me, please." Jake raised an eyebrow. The card didn't say anything else. No company name, just a number. "Mysterious," he said, pocketing it. "Thanks." She nodded, smiled again, and slid behind the wheel. The Mustang rolled away into the evening, red taillights fading into the dusk. Jake shook his head and smiled, grabbing his keys and heading home. The tea party was a mess. Stuffed animals scattered across the floor. Lily wore a tiara and a pink tutu over her pajamas. She squealed when Jake walked in. "Daddy, you're late." Ms. Pinky is furious. Jake dropped to the floor. "I brought my best apology voice." She grinned, poured invisible tea, and handed him a plastic cupcake. For 20 minutes, the world melted away. For 20 minutes, Jake wasn't broke, tired, or worried. He was King Jake. ruler of the fluffy animal kingdom. But when Lily was asleep, Jake sat on the couch staring at the card. Olivia Hart. No job title, no logo, just a name and a number. He shrugged. Probably some fancy consultant. He tossed it on the table and turned off the light. 3 days later, the garage was quiet when Jake got a call from an unknown number. Jake Carter? Yeah, this is Simon Lewis. I'm calling on behalf of Heartwarming Innovations. Miss Olivia Hart asked me to reach out. Jake blinked. I'm sorry, Heartwarming what? Heartwarming Innovations, tech conglomerate. We're headquartered in Chicago, but Miss Hart is expanding operations. She said she met you recently. Something about a Mustang? Jake's brain stalled. Yeah, broken bar she broke down outside a shop. I fixed it. Well, she was very impressed. She'd like to offer you an opportunity. Opportunity? Full-time, salaried position, head mechanic and operations coordinator for her vintage vehicle restoration division. Benefits, relocation package, housing, daycare support. She's even asked to meet you and your daughter over dinner. Jake sat in silence. Is this a prank? Simon chuckled. Not at all, Mr. Carter. Olivia Hart is the CEO of Heartwarming Innovations, worth over $40 billion. She doesn't offer jobs lightly. Jake dropped the phone. It bounced off the hood of the car he was working on. His heart was racing. He thought back to her smile, her careful eyes, her quiet way of watching him. Billionaire? She didn't seem like a broken bar, like someone who owns private jets and controls the world's largest AI firm. She likes to drive herself, ground herself. She says it reminds her who she's building it all for. Jake ran a hand through his hair. I don't know what to say. She said you'd probably react that way, but she insists your kindness changed her day. She wants to repay that. And maybe broken bar invest in someone who still believes in people. Dinner was in a penthouse suite overlooking the city. Jake wore his only clean button-up. Lily wore a sparkly dress and clutched her toy unicorn. Olivia met them at the door, barefoot and relaxed, in jeans and a sweater. Hi, Jake. Hi, Lily. Come in. I made spaghetti. Lily gasped. Spaghetti is my favorite. Jake smiled. Thanks for inviting us. Over dinner, Olivia didn't talk about money or business. She talked about her childhood. A poor, rough, a single mom who worked 3 jobs. She built Heartwarming from a garage just like Jake's. I haven't forgotten where I came from, she said. You reminded me of my mother, of how dignity lives in the choices we make when no one's watching. Jake swallowed hard. I was just doing what felt right. That's why I want you to work with me, she said. Not for me, with me. I need someone I can trust to lead the new arm of the company. You'd be training teams, restoring classic vehicles, mentoring youth in vocational programs. You'd be helping people broken bar like you helped me. Jake looked down at Lily, who was feeding spaghetti to her unicorn. You'd even help with daycare? Of course. We take care of our people. Jake felt tears sting his eyes. No one's ever offered me anything like this. I didn't think I was a broken bar worth it. Olivia reached across the table, her voice soft. You are, more than you know. 6 months later, Jake walked into a newly built garage facility with Heartwarming Restoration Youth Mechanics Initiative painted above the doors. Lily ran ahead of him in her mini coveralls, waving at the staff. Jake wore a crisp work shirt with his name embroidered in red. Inside, dozens of teens from underprivileged neighborhoods learned welding, engine repair, and design. Jake trained them with care, patience, and pride. He still drove his old pickup, even though Olivia offered to buy him something flashier. He didn't need the flash. He had purpose. And every Friday, Olivia stopped by in that same Mustang. They talked, shared coffee, built something deeper than business, something real. One day, as the sun dipped low and the garage echoed with laughter, Jake turned to Olivia. Do you ever think about fate? She smiled. Sometimes. But mostly, I think about choices. You made one that night. You helped me, not knowing who I was, and that's why we're here now. He nodded. Well, a broken bar in that case. I'm glad the Mustang broke down. She laughed, leaning into him slightly. So am I. Jake never planned to be a hero, but one act of kindness, one honest moment changed not only his life, but the lives of everyone he would go on to help. Because sometimes, the people you lift up are the ones who turn around and lift you higher than you ever dreamed possible. And sometimes, The most powerful empires begin with something as small as a broken down Mustang, a broken bar, and a good man willing to help.